Okay, hi guys. Let's wait for people to join in. We are live now. You can also share this broadcast with your friends as we wait for at least a few people to join in. Thank you for joining in. I can see some people have already started joining in. Thank you and welcome. Today we're doing the second episode on the matters of reproductive health. And with me today, we have various women who are doing wonderful work at the grassroots level in Kenya, in Uganda. And basically, the work is covering a bigger scope than Kenya and Uganda. So I'm really excited to be having all these people with me today, wonderful women, phenomenal women. Just as we wait for people to join in, I just got a blackout. Okay, so as we wait for people to join in, maybe I'll pass it to you, Serafina, to handle the introductions as I try to fix my power and come back. Serafina? Unmute your mic.
Yes, Rachel. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rachel, for the great introduction. So my name is Serafina Ambale, and I'm really glad today to be here to continue the conversation in regards to sexual reproductive health and rights. So last week we had this conversation, and we felt sexual reproductive health and rights, it's quite wide, and therefore we could not get to answer all the questions that we had and also attend to the different concerns from our participants. So today I'm very glad to be hosting Imelda Miere and Gloria from Uganda, and I'm quite sure we're going to learn a lot from what they are doing in their different areas of sexual reproductive health and rights. So I'll take this chance to ask Gloria to kindly introduce herself, at least tell us what you do, and how you work in the community.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Hope you can hear me. My name is Gloria Nawayaga. I am an HIV activist and advocate, SRHR specialist. I'm a lawyer by profession and specializing in human rights. I'm currently working with Peer-to-Peer Uganda as a communications and advocacy officer. I also have a band, which is the Y Plus Music Band, which is a band for young people, both infected and affected with HIV, and we use our talents to create a positive impact through entertainment. I'm also the founder of the Young for Truth Foundation, which is a charity organization, and we basically reach out to young people living with HIV, especially orphans, and we help them with capacity building skills and also some basic needs in life that help them to realize their full potential and be able to be empowered economically. Yeah, I'm so happy and glad to be here. I'm so passionate about human rights, passionate about sexual reproductive health and rights, and HIV. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gloria. I think we'll go to Imelda Mierem. You will introduce yourself and tell us more about what you do. What are you doing in the community in regards to sexual reproductive health and rights? Yeah?
My name is Imelda Miere. I am from Kisumu, Kenya. So I am a sexual reproductive health advocate, and I am more passionate about menstrual health management. So currently I am a volunteer at Talanta Africa and Gender Dialogues. These are two organizations that defend human rights through arts. So anything arts, you'd find them there. So I am a peer educator at the Pangea group, the Pangea network, sorry, on matters sexual reproductive health and rights with the adolescent. I am a special needs teacher by profession. That is what I studied in campus. And I think it doesn't matter if I teach in class or outside class, because I am doing more of peer education with the girls outside class. And I am looking forward to just having this conversation with the whole team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Imelda. Maybe it's just still on you. You said that you are special needs teacher, but here you are also a peer educator and so much passionate about menstrual hygiene matters. So what is your story? What is your motivation in regards to matters sexual productive health and rights?
So immediately I finished campus. So I was just, how Kenya is, there's no jobs for those who are the fresh graduates. So one day I was just strolling around and then I meet a girl crying. So when I asked why the girl was crying, she told me that she's bleeding. So I started just trying to look where she was bleeding from. Then I didn't see anything. Then curiously I asked, where are you bleeding? Having a period. So from there I told her, don't you have a sanitary napkin? And then she said, her mother cannot afford. So from there, I just started asking my friends, can we just try and just buy some girls' sanitary napkins, those that are vulnerable and the parents can't afford? So we later realized that so many people cannot afford sanitary napkins. Some use even mattresses, some use old clothes, old blankets. So that is where my friends just started donating one by one. We started donating and just giving out girls' sanitary napkins and the menstrual products. And then we've been doing this for, I think it's now 3 years now, just trying to mobilize sanitary napkins and menstrual products and just giving it to these girls. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Imelda. Back to you, Gloria. I know you are working with young people living with HIV and AIDS, and in this community, a lot of stigma and discrimination in regards to this work that is being done around people living with HIV and AIDS. So, what is this motivation behind the work you are doing in the community? Hi, Gloria. Can you hear us? Hello? Gloria, are you able to hear us? Okay, it seems Gloria is having issues with her network. Probably she cannot hear. Probably she's not able to hear us. Gloria, are you able to get us? Okay, as she tries to connect, Imelda, I don't know, what do you think sexual reproductive health and rights is all about? Now that you are so much passionate about SRHR, when someone asks you, what do we mean by SRHR? What is it contained and entailed in sexual reproductive health and rights?
So what I'd say about sexual reproductive health and rights is it's something that it's us. You get it? So sexual reproductive health is just the well-being of a human being, both male and female, when it comes to matters sexual. So how you just want to get those contraceptives from any facility, it's a matter of that entails sexual reproductive health. And who it affects, it ends up affecting everyone in the society. So it affects both the young and the old. Because when a child gets defiled, now we talk about sexual reproductive health violation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Imelda. I can see Mary Julie has just joined us. Mary, if you don't mind, you can just unmute and introduce yourself and the work you do in your community, kindly. Mary Julie. Mary Julie, are you able to hear us? Okay, I think Mary Julie is also having some technical issues with technology. Gloria, I'm not sure if you can hear us. Gloria? Gloria, are you able to hear us kindly? Okay, I think we will go with you, Imelda, now that Mary Julie is not able to respond, as well as Gloria. They are still having some technical issues. I hope they're going to be able to sort them as soon as possible, and we'll get back to them immediately everything is set. So, Gloria, you have been working on matters menstrual hygiene for quite a while now. Maybe you can just tell us what is this main challenge you think is facing sexual reproductive health and rights matters in Africa that is really slowing down the progress of SRHR in Africa.
One major factor that is slowing down the progress of SRHR Africa, I think, is lack of sexuality education. Because we tend to ignore the nitty-gritties, not knowing that all these are entailed in sexual reproductive health. When it comes to matters menstrual health management, majority don't have the correct information, the right information, because the information they have out here is not the correct one. So one thing that is literally slowing the whole process of sexual reproductive health is lack of information. And this has even affected the legislature because when you want them to pass a policy, they don't understand it because this information is not out there. Thank you.
Hello, Imelda, can you hear Sarafina?
No, I can't hear Sarafina, but I can hear you clearly. So I think she has some technical issues.
Okay. So I think you can continue from where we had stopped. What the question that she had asked you, so that I can pick it up from there, because I also just joined in. And Sarah is here. Sarah, can you hear us clearly?
Yes,
Sarah
I
is,
can hear you.
so she will also be able to take us through this. Thank you guys for joining in.
Thank you.
Technical challenges are there in online shows, so that happens oftenly. So maybe over to you, Sarah. Maybe you can ask Imelda a question, and then we can move on from there. Thank you.
Hi, Melda.
Hi, Sarah.
Well, there are services that individuals can obtain, but what services or commodities can individuals obtain and where?
So almost all services can be obtained at health facilities. So most of the time we try and repetition public health facilities or public services. So it's kind of different when it comes to the private institutions. These are public, private health facilities. But commodities such as contraceptives, family planning, all these can be readily obtained at any public health facility in
Okay. And then, hi, Gloria. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, now we can hear you.
All right, perfect.
Um, I'm not so sure where you left off. Would you like to introduce yourself, Gloria?
All right, thank you so much. My name is Gloria from Uganda, Kampala. I am an HIV advocate and activist. I am a human rights lawyer and so passionate about SRHR. I'm currently working with PHP Uganda as the communications and advocacy officer. I also own a band, which is the Y Plus Music Band, and it's a band of young people, both infected and affected with HIV, and we use our talent to create a positive impact through edutainment. I also have an organization, a charity organization, which is the Young Forces Foundation, and we basically help young people to realize their full potential by empowering them financially, economically, and mentally. And we also help them with basic needs, especially young people who are living with HIV and their orphans. I quite do a lot, and not only in HIV field, but also SRHR, and I'm a trainer of trainees in SRHR. I've been volunteering with quite a number of organizations, SRHR Alliance in Uganda, Uganda Network of Young People Living with HIV, Uganda AIDS Commission, and we've been tackling all these challenges affecting young people in SRHR, HIV, and our general lives. Yeah. So basically,
Right.
that is what I've been doing.
That's quite impressive. And now for the community service and the work that you do, what's the motivation behind it? For the community service and the work that you do with the youth, what is the motivation behind it?
Thank you so much. The motivation, first of all, I'm a young person, born and living with HIV, and I grew up, in this community where I was stigmatized, and I also had self-stigma, and it really pushed me to advocate for our rights as people living with HIV, especially a girl, a young girl living with HIV. And not only that, in our communities, young people are dying because of ignorance. They don't have enough information, especially correct information on HIV, on SRHR, on issues that are affecting us as young people, and also how they can overcome this issue. So basically, I'm driven by the fact that I've been a victim of HIV stigma, and also the fact that very many young people out there lack the right and correct information about SRHR, HIV, and other different issues that affect young people.
Right. And, um, what would you say are the measures that have been put in by the government to support SRHR? We can start with Imelda. What are the measures that have been put
Okay.
by the government to support SRHR?
So in Kenya, let me be more specific with Kisumu County because that was where I work from. So the
Yeah.
government has put in measures like they're trying to increase the budgetary allocation for sexual reproductive health. And I believe the budget is increased from 4% to, let's say, 10% that was proposed by the CSOs. That would be a biggest step because more of the commodities and the products would be purchased, and they'd even focus on more on the preventive than the curative aspect of it, because we believe that prevention is better than cure. So if this is approved and the budget is increased from 4%, that would be a bigger move to the SRHR. Thank you.
Okay. And Gloria, what would you say your government, the Ugandan government, what measures have they put in place to support SRHR?
Thank you so much. Hope you can hear me and my background is not so noisy. If it's noisy, I
It's
can
a bit,
change the question.
probably you can try speaking close to the speaker.
All right. So the
Yes.
government of Uganda has spent a lot of money measures in promoting SRHR, but the challenge we are facing as Ugandans is that we don't want to accept the fact that there are very many young people out there who are actually lacking sexuality education. And our country, the challenge we are facing, especially with policy makers, we are failed to embrace the fact that these are young people, they are growing up, they are experiencing body changes, and they need this information. We have the sexuality bill, but to be honest, it's not implemented. It's not implemented. It's there in writing, but it's not implemented and it's not working. Then we also have the newly sexuality offense bill, which has been outlining the different, offenses and all that. But you see that there is still a gap that is needed for, our government to bring the information out there that is really needed by young people. All these bills, there are lots of bills, there are lots of, laws that are policies that have been implemented, that have been come up with, but the way they package the information, the way they package the information is not so appealing, and it's not so can I say is not the information that actually is needed for young people to know. There is the way they are trying to sugarcoat it. Let me say, if something is about sex and you tell a young person that sex is, having sexual intercourse with someone who is of your opposite sex, there is a way they don't want to bring the information the way it's supposed to be brought out. And they always want to sugarcoat it. And this is not helping us as young people. So I can say there is a lot that there is a lot of policies that have been put in our government, but implementation is at zero level. Yeah, though these innovations have been there, that put the sexuality bill, they put the sexuality education bill, they put in the curriculum for high school and primary level, they put uh, um, they don't want to call it actually sexuality education. There is a way they want to phrase it, which does not actually bring out the sexuality education of it, or the bit of it. Yeah, so we still have a lot of challenges. I can't say that our government has not done anything. To be honest, our government has done something, but I think and feel there is a lot more that needs to be done, especially in the way we package our information to these young people. These young people are accessing social media. They are getting this information and they are getting wrong information. And the government has failed to realize that we need to package our information the way it's supposed to be packaged and correctly. And we are the ones supposed to educate these young people. So if we don't educate them, then who is going to educate them? So a lot of things have been there, have been put in place, but a lot more needs to be done.
I can see the passion oozing out of your statements. And from this experience, I can see you're very passionate about it. How are you able to counter this within your organization? Because they always say the change begins with you. So
So
personally,
for the past 5 years, that is when I started my advocacy of HIV, of course, in some pressure with SRHR, and I've been privileged to work with different and volunteering with different organizations, as I said earlier, and we have been reaching out to community groups, outreach and sensitizing and educating these people on contraceptive the myths and misconceptions related to SRHR, the right information on SRHR, and the information about HIV. They have been reaching out to schools. They have done national level advocacy where we sit with the policymakers, we sit with lawmakers, the judiciary. We tell them, you people, this is the kind of information that
hi, Gloria. Gloria.
this is
I think we're losing you again. If you can be a bit louder and probably just um,
Can you hear me?
yes, just try to be a bit louder.
Okay, okay. So I was saying we have done national level advocacy. We have done a national level advocacy where we're working with the different international stakeholders in relation to HIV and SRHR, trying to change the narrative, trying to change the policy that are not favorable
Mm,
for young people, adults, and key population, and we are trying to also see that we change the packaging of the information that we give to these adults and some young people and the general community at large.
okay.
And of course, using our social media to do advocacy, media intervention where we do our talk shows, radio talk shows, TVs, and as I said earlier, I also have a band of young people. We use our talent, and of course, we do radio segments and we sing songs about SRR, HIV, mental health, how people can, get this information correctly and how they can use it, apply to their day-to-day life. Yeah, so lots has been done. And of course, as I said earlier, I always say that a lot more needs to be done. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Now, Imelda, there's so much that needs to be done, and
Okay.
you're coming from a point of empowerment, and you wish to empower these people. What is
Okay.
what are the challenges that the community that you face when you go to the community with this good news? But what are some of the challenges that you face when you approach the community?
So one main issue that I have noticed is the
Mm,
information is not out there. So most of the time when you just go and try and educate these girls, so most of them are under the age of 18. So we need to get consent because they cannot consent by themselves. So sometimes the parent would ask, "What are you going to teach them?" So when you tell them it's sexual reproductive health education, they think you're going to teach their kids sex, like you're going to teach them bad manners. So you some parents tend to just refuse and say, no, I'm not letting my child go hear that. So that is one of the biggest challenge. Another thing is the information is not out there, and some are not willing to just give a listening ear. Some just use your words against you sometimes. So it has been tricky. And then the government is trying to just get this information out, but how we just get it into our mind is the challenge. So another thing is tradition and religion. Another thing I realized is some religion are more strict when it comes to sexual reproductive health. They don't allow their kids listen to it. They say that is something they need to be taught when they are married. So that is another challenge I have encountered. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Imelda. Gloria?
Yeah, thank you
Uh,
so much.
yeah.
Of course, the challenges are not so different, given the fact that we are all in East Africa. And still start with what Imelda said. In our communities, not only parents, even guardians, even teachers, still think that giving a child a sexuality education or information, they're teaching them, bad manners, they're teaching them to have sex, which is not the case. Because as I said earlier, these people access social media and they get to get wrong information. So that is one of the biggest challenge that the communities, especially older people, are failed to realize the importance of the young people and knowing their sexuality life and having this sexual information. And also the cultural barriers. We are in Africa, and sometimes culture is very bold. So you find that we advocating against FGM is not safe, but because some people are believe that it's culture and they have to do it to find themselves continuing doing that some of the cultural practices, which is a big barrier. And it also brings me to my call to action to engage cultural leaders as much as possible to see that they also embrace the fact that, yes, cultures are there, but we can modify them and put them in the new innovations that are running, that are safer, that are better, that are going to improve our lives. And we also have a challenge of still religious leaders. There are very few pastors, there are very few preachers who talk about sex in church. If you see a pastor talking about sex, people will be like, what is this pastor saying? So we still have that challenge, and we still also need to, engage the religious leaders. I also have a challenge of, a donor influenced advocacy. When we see that the donor is funding maybe key populations, then we all run away from some issues that are affecting our communities to what the donors are favorable or what the donors are funding at that time. So you see that some of the challenges have been ignored because probably the funders are not so familiar, which is a big challenge because all communities, all challenges rather are affecting us, regardless whether the donors are funding them or not. So it has to interest the donors that, hey, look, these are some of the challenges that we are facing apart from those you're funding, and we also need to address the challenges. We also have a very big problem. I think I don't know how we'll do it, but people still have myths and misconceptions. People still have those things, and it's such a shame that in my country, people still think that when a girl is in menstruation, it's a curse, you're not supposed to come in public, which is very, I don't know, we are in a modernized world, but people still have, those, which is so sad and so unfortunate. But of course, we have to continue with the awareness, the sensitization, the advocacy. We should not stop. We should not stop. And as you said, change always starts within, and we should do our change without leaving no one behind. Yeah. So lots of challenges we are facing, but still, I emphasize more of the advocacy, of the sensitization, awareness, and people realizing that the world needs change. Thank you.
True. Thank you so much. When it comes to that, I believe, yes, our conservative nature as Africa makes us shy away from topics SRHR or makes us fight SRHR, any advances when it comes to SRHR. Now, in terms of the pandemic, right? Once it struck, what was that like? What have you seen that has changed, or what has emerged from the pandemic? Imelda?
So from the onset of the COVID-19 in Kenya, one thing I noticed is it wasn't just the Kenyan government, but I think the whole world just shifted from these other diseases and condition, and all the focus went to the pandemic. So everything was about the COVID-19. Most hospitals would literally turn people because they were accommodating the COVID-19 patients. And even the community, they got scared of just going for SRHR services at the hospitals because they'd say, I don't want to go there and then just end up contracting the COVID-19. So these made SRHR commodities and services just drop because the focus went. And there's a time I visited a community and I realized they were not even getting the sanitary napkins that the government has been issuing to the schoolgirls through the national affirmative action that is done by Office of the Women Rep. So even these officers stopped giving out the menstrual products and then started giving out the sanitizers and the masks. So there was a priority over sanitizers and masks, and less privilege was given to menstrual products and the sanitary commodities at large. Thank you.
All right. How about you, Gloria, in Uganda? What was the case?
Well, the pandemic, COVID-19, actually lagged us behind, like 5 steps behind, because there is a lot that had been innovated. There was a lot of progress, but when the lockdown came, everything just shut down. And to be honest with you, we are just struggling to stand up again,
Okay.
especially in SRR, because to be honest, a lot in Uganda, in lots of cases increased and isolated for uh, teenage pregnancies. Very many young girls got pregnant in lockdown. HIV, because of course when girls get pregnant, that means they're not protected, not using
Mm.
protection. So of course, definitely, HIV was on a rise. STIs and STIs and STDs were on a rise. You
Mhm.
find that gender-based violence was on a rise, and all these things were implications. You find that a lot of poverty. There are very many people who lost their jobs. There are very many people who were not able to sustain themselves during that time. And some of them resorted to sex work, especially young girls and young women, adolescent girls and young women. So the pandemic, I can say, to you as well. It just left us behind, and we are trying to, catch up. Actually, we registered in Uganda. We registered over 10,000 teenage pregnancy cases only in lockdown, and we have faced a very big challenge that most of the country's students are pregnant and they cannot go back to school. However, I appreciate and acknowledge our government where they accepted, because initially we are not accepting pregnant young girls to do their final exams. When you get pregnant in high school, that's the end of your life. But I'm appreciating the government that at least they allowed them, because there are those who are just raped and they just they keep going through it intentionally. They allowed them to do their exams and they finished. But it was so sad that some of them had to deliver even in the examination room, which was very unfortunate. Yeah. So a lot of things rose in COVID-19. As I say, even in HIV, as people living with HIV, our mental, some of us became mentally ill, because the pandemic came with a lot of,
Oh, yeah.
uncertainties. We could not know the future. We could not, some of us, some of my colleagues, could not even access their medication, because of the lockdown and the expenses, like transportation from their homes to the facilities. There was a bit of privacy, whereby in lockdown, some people were, yes, they did the innovation of delivery, but some people at their places had not disclosed about the HIV cases. But because they were in lockdown, they could not do anything about it. They end up disclosing to their relatives and nearby people. So COVID-19 and the pandemic did do us well. And briefly, those are some of the challenges.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate because the cases of teenage pregnancies were notably higher, and the number of reasons that came out of them was the lack of access to sanitary towels, which is a basic need. And I believe the cases of being in a closed position, even with the perpetrator, it's just mentally and emotionally draining. And I believe that is why we are pushing for SRHR and wanting for communities to change and embrace. Now, when it comes to personally, I, as a responsible member of my community, how am I able to now leave my house and help someone who I can see is not having their rights freely? For example, if it's a child who I can see is probably pregnant, how can I assist such a child? How can I step up and help SRHR go in the direction that can bring about positivity and change? Imelda?
One thing we noted is that just upholding a SRHR is not a one-man show. It needs collective responsibility, collective work. So if we intend to uphold SRHR in the community, we need to work with each and every person that we can. So let's say for the example of the child that is pregnant. So if a child is pregnant, number one, we definitely have to look for the parent or the guardian, we need to probe and just find out, how did this girl get pregnant? Was this child defiled? Was this child is the parent aware? You see, such question needs to be asked. So after we ask those questions, we then follow. If the child was maybe defiled, so then we can follow the right channels as stipulated in the Constitution of Kenya, of just taking this child to the health facilities, and then with the report, the medical report by the doctor, we just then go to the police station after an OB is issued, and then we just let the law follow its course. But we have learned that some parents give consent for their children who are under the age of 18 to get married, and maybe some people just have to them. So in cases like this, we just have to just arrest the parent, because the parent is like aiding and just misleading this kid's life. Thank you.
Right. Am I able to approach an organization, or which organizations can someone approach to help such an individual? Just in case I'm scared to do it as myself.
There are organizations like Talent Africa, where I work, and Plan International. So these organizations, when you have an issue on sexual reproductive health, specifically when it comes to gender-based violence, whether sexual, physical, or verbal, you're able to just go to this. They have a number you can call anytime. So when you reach to them, they are able to just come to your aid and guide you through the whole step, from taking you to the hospital. They work with the police, with the judiciary, to make sure you get the justice you deserve, you as an individual, and maybe the child that you're trying to help. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. Now, Gloria, are there places that someone in Uganda, organizations that someone can approach, as well as how can I, as a responsible member of the community, uphold SRHR?
Okay, thank you so much. Hope you can hear me. Yeah. So, how can a community member uphold SRHR? First of all, be well informed about SRHR. There are very many. I don't know if it also applies in Kenya, but here in Uganda, people are so reluctant to get enough correct information about SRHR. Some people feel like, that's not my responsibility. That is, health workers and social workers' responsibility. Me, a farmer, it's none of my business. Yet it's everyone's business. So, a community person, we are all community people. So it's our role to get right information about SRHR and bring it out there to the communities and teach our fellow people that we live in our communities. There are very many organizations in Uganda that can offer help, especially to young people who are probably pregnant or experience sexual violences. And yeah, we also have, as Imelda said, in Kenya we have toll-free lines, and also in Uganda we have toll-free lines, which we also have a national toll-free line, which is Sauti Yangu Dialogue. And maybe just to give an example, I volunteered with some organization. It's called Uganet, and they actually have a shelter home. And this shelter home, they give us psychosocial support to all those who have been victims of GBV, sexual violence, teenage pregnancies. They bring them together, they help them, they provide the needs, mentally prepare them, and also help them evict the perpetrators. Yeah, so there are lots of organizations in Uganda doing quite a tremendous work in addressing SRHR, helping victims of teenage pregnancy, GBV, and also in our communities, but still our communities are still reluctant in getting this information and applying the information that I've gotten. Thank you.
When it comes to the commodities, some of the commodities includes contraceptives. Now, how can I, as a mother of a 12-year-old, be convinced? Like, how can I be empowered enough to understand that my child who is 12 years old and sexually active needs the contraceptives? Have you dealt with such cases, and how are you able to overcome such a situation? Any of you can take it.
So one thing I believe is every Kenyan is entitled to to accessing the highest attainable standards of health according to the constitution. So when a 12-year-old feels like they need contraceptives, the parent should consent because according to them that is the highest attainable standard of health that they require. But I have had parents literally forcing their kids to have contraceptive against their wills, because contraceptive at some point they mess up with your hormones. So you'd hear these kids saying they'd have a heavy flow than what they used to have before the contraceptives. Some would have less, some would gain weight, some would lose weight. So a parent is allowed to consent if the child is equally willing to. But if the child is not, no parent is allowed to forcefully convince the child to have the contraceptives. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Imelda. Gloria?
Yeah. Yeah. Just to give myself as an example. When I was 12, my mother sat me down and told me, when you ever see blood on your knicker, come and tell me. At that time, I had not yet started my period. So I knew that whenever I see blood and my first period, I just ran to my mom. I told her, Mama, blood on my knicker. So I upon the parents, to know the importance of their children getting this information of, about their sexual life, about menstrual hygiene, about, sexual productive health and rights. So, if, of course, a parent is empowered enough, of course, they will know the importance of a child or their children knowing the right information about reproductive health and rights. And yeah, there are very many. We have seen scenarios here in Uganda where a 12-year gets pregnant. I know it's technically possible, but it's possible. And you ask yourself, this kid has been staying at home. What has the parent been doing to see that this kid is empowered enough not to get pregnant? You get so. However much we see that 12 is not a consenting age in our laws, but it's also very important for them to know about their sexual lives, about their sexuality, about the information, the relevant information they need in sexual reproductive health and rights.
True.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I believe it's a very sensitive matter and it's very important, especially we are starting to note that so many children, girls, are starting to have sex at a very early age. So the more we try not to talk about it, the more we are just increasing the problems that we are seeing or the outcomes that we are seeing right now, experiencing right now. And the work that you're doing is very impressive and very, I can believe it's emotional. Most times you need to hide your emotions and do the best that you can. I believe that's the case, right? Now, in terms of support or partnership, what would you prefer? Which organizations right now, if there are organizations watching right now, which organizations would you want to reach out to, or individuals, any kind of support, and how can they reach you?
On matters mentioned, so one organization that has been very supportive is Global Initiative on Feminist in Kenya.
We can't clearly hear you. Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. So organizations that have been supportive and helping me out in my journey that has made my journey easier is a Gogan initiative. So they are an organization that just educates girls on the different menstrual products that are available in the market and how to use them, how to clean them, how to dispose of them, and let girls learn initiative. They're equally partnering with Google initiative. So most of the time we are working together with them to just educate girls. Talent Africa has been helping as they are champions on gender-based violence. So they have a pathway to be followed in case someone is raped, in case a child is defined, any form of violence. They are always on the lookout. Gender dialogues has been amazing. They have been having these education. They are always ready to educate girls when it comes to matters reproductive health, and they are doing an amazing job when it comes to human rights education. And Plan International has always been supporting. They've been giving sanitary napkins for the girls whenever we have an activity. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I can see a comment that says, this is a great conversation we're having. We also need to address the issue of having SRHR conversations with our children, also training our parents on how to approach such discussions. Someone also says this is a good discussion. In terms of training parents, do you directly deal with the children, with the teenagers, the youth, or do you also interact with the parents and empower them in your work?
So one thing we realized is we cannot talk to the kids and leave the parents, because that would be doing zero work. So we decided we talk with the parents, we talk with the children too, but we don't bring them together. One thing we realized is children never talk when the parents are there.
Yeah.
So we talk separately with the parents, and then we talk separately with the children. So we just try and just find a common ground for both. So we engage parents, we engage teachers, on gender-based violence, we even engage traffic, not necessarily, but the police department, the judiciary. We make sure we engage everyone that is a key stakeholder in this department. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Imelda. Gloria, from your end, what sort of partnerships or support will you be wishing for people to reach out, and how can they reach out to you?
Well, I think for us to address SRHR, HIV, and related public health issues, it's a collective responsibility. I believe everyone has a role to play, starting from home, because charity begins from home. Our families, parents, guardians, local leaders, community leaders, religious leaders, political leaders, CSOs, development partners, which those are the UN, World Health Organization, the European Union. All those people need to work hand in hand to see that we address these issues concerning SRHR and also make a world a better place. So I won't specify that we need this partner or this partner, but we need a collective effort to see that we address SRHR issues.
True. True. Thank you so much, ladies. I'm really impressed, to be honest. As well as, I'd like to extend Happy Eid to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. I hope you're enjoying your celebrations. If you have a friend, you can wish them a Happy Eid. I give you 2 people that you can wish a Happy Eid to. Do you have a Muslim friend who's celebrating Eid today?
Okay. Yeah. Let me take this opportunity. Thank you so much, Sarah, to wish a happy Eid to all my Muslim friends, brothers, sisters, Eid Mubarak. Just to be specific, I have Sharifa, who is kind of near me. I also have Isma Babi. I wish them a very, very good Eid. May Allah consider their fasting and may all their dreams come true.
Thank you so much. And I hope your friends will be happy with the Eid wishes that you've sent their way. I hope they're having a good time as well. And I'd like to say that the work that you do takes a lot. I know emotionally and all aspects, but I'd want to encourage you that everything that you do is going to touch someone's life, and the lives that you touch will eventually change the community and make the community understand that SRHR is not fighting against the norms, but empowering the ladies, the girls, the youth to have better lives and to just be better people in the community. And with that, that will be the end of the show for today. But Gloria, if you have a parting shot, any word of encouragement or anything as well, you can add at this point.
Thank you so much, Sarah. As I said earlier, for us to address and achieve a place or a world where SRHR is acknowledged and this information is put into consideration and implementation, it's going to take every one of us to step up. We're not going to leave anyone behind. So I urge everyone out there hearing us on all capacities, on all levels you are at. It's important and it's your role to lay SRHR information out there to our communities and support organizations that are coming up with, initiatives and projects that are promoting SRHR in our communities, because we really need our communities to be a better place for the girl child and of course the boy child as well. And it's going to take all of us to see that there is a favorable environment and SRHR is upheld in our communities. Thank you so much, Sauti Kenya, for hosting me. I'm so glad and so humbled. In Uganda, most of my networks I've actually gotten to know about you, and I hope we'll keep in touch and we'll work more on different projects. Thank you, and I love you.
Thank you so much, Gloria, and thank you for your time. And despite the technical challenges, thank you for coming back once again to share your wealth of information, because it's given us, it's enabled us to see the different aspects, whether it's related to the country or it's just a problem that's cutting across Africa. Thank you so much. All right.